All right, well, hello and welcome. Laura Brandenburg here with Bridging the Gap, and here today with Becky Goll. I'm so excited to meet with you. And she is actively in our Business Analyst Blueprint program right now and has had some great successes. And I'm so excited that she agreed to talk with me today. So welcome, Becky.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I just love your smile. You're so excited. I love it. Could you just tell me a little bit about where you were? So we're in end of April 2020 right now. You know, it's in the middle of, people might be hearing this in a couple of years, but in the middle of COVID 2020, right? And but where you were back in January, because this has been kind of a strange blueprint in that, a lot of people joined the program without knowing this was happening. And then we've had a lot of changes since. But like, where were you in January in your career, and what were you hoping for?
Yeah, well, I've had a lot of discovery process since then. I think, back in December, I lost my job. So this was even after all the COVID craziness.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just really looking into how to incorporate more of my skill set, because what I found was that a lot of the jobs that I have had in the past, project management focused and project management roles. But I noticed that I really liked the projects where I was kind of digging further into why things weren't working properly. I kept getting hit over and over again with bumps in the road in the project management that I was doing. And I really wanted to discover and ask questions of other people around me about like what was going on and were they having the same issues as I was. And I just really wanted to dig underneath what was happening. And so I kept on kind of going in that direction. And as I've discovered, this is business analysis 101, the first steps, of trying to figure out what the issues were. And then I found myself, mapping out some process flows, not even knowing that that was what it was called. And at the time, I don't think that the work that I was doing allowed me to kind of enter into that role. So there wasn't really much opportunity for me to move in that direction. Mm-hmm. And just like kind of financial difficulties over and over again with the companies I had been with. So has kind of led me to this spot of being like, okay, I need to settle into the skills that I kind of naturally tend towards in my role as a project manager, and see how it goes. And today
that's a big leap to jump into a program like the Blueprint after I didn't realize you had lost your job in December. So kind of what was in your thought process there?
Yeah, well, I had definitely been thinking about, okay, I need to build my skill set in another area beyond just project management. And specifically it was print marketing, mm-hmm. Which is a dying industry, or just it's morphing a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I needed to get out of that industry is what I wanted to do. But then my dad also, we think very similarly, and he is a consultant. And so I had kind of like checked in with him, kind of had a brain session with my dad to see like, okay, what is this called that I'm, leaning more towards? And sure enough, it was like a business analysis. So I looked online for different programs that were offered, and, was kind of doing some YouTube research as well with that term. And you came up in a lot of the videos that you've put out. But when I also compared your program with like, let's see, I think I did UC Irvine, and then I did Berkeley as well, just to see what their programs looked like. And they were, 2 times the cost of what you were putting out there, but their structure was different. Like you had explained too, they're kind of more academic and less hands-on. And so kind of the price point was right for me. And I was really appreciative of how much information that you had provided even already with being a BA and the process of that, and So you did a great job in kind of providing me with the information
Yeah.
to kind of make that decision.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're just kind of about we're close to 2/3 of the way through the program now, but do you want to just kind of talk us through, I know you've analyzed the business process and you created some project work for yourself, right? Essentially.
Yeah. So like you had shared, the hands-on process with your program allows you to incorporate what you're learning in the blueprint into real life projects. And luckily I have a roommate that owns a tax business. And so I reached out to her, and she's kind of in between the stage of like being a startup and trying to create processes and hiring on new people. And so she needed kind of to data dump from her head what the processes were, right? And kind of so I helped her map out that process initially. And the skills that I'm learning are definitely a part of that.
Yeah.
And so it's been very helpful. And a part of the big selling point for me in the blueprint was also just knowing that I could have a portfolio pretty much of my work that I had done. Because I don't have much experience right yet in business analysis, just the project management side. So I wanted to be able to speak to that. And I guess, combination of confidence in what I had done already, but then also just being able to show it.
Yeah. So what were some of the processes that you mapped for her? Because that sounds like I've heard there's been this trend potentially opening of like small businesses needing us too, right? Like it's like we think of business analysis as being something that's usually in a larger corporation, but like I'm a small business and we probably don't do enough of our own business analysis, but like I've seen this in the entrepreneurial world of people really needing that. So I'd be curious to hear how that went.
Yeah. So her business is virtual already. So a lot of tax businesses, right, had now locations, right, where they would have clients come in and talk to a tax representative and work through their taxes. She has bookkeeping and taxes. And so she wanted me specifically to look at the tax client and pretty much from start to finish. So they're a lead, and then we have, we do their return and send it to the IRS. So that process from start to finish is what she wanted me to look at. And at the time she was already becoming virtual because she is a traveler herself and really needed to have this mobility and still receive clients while she was traveling. So she removed her physical location, probably a year ago now. So she was kind of ahead of the curve. And I was looking at that process, and it's morphed and changed a lot. I think what was difficult initially, because she is a visionary leader, is that I had a hard time getting the as-is process from her because she so badly wanted me to tell her or wanted to tell me what she wanted it to be.
Right.
And so there was a lot of back and forth with that. But I was able to help her with that. And she already had a lot of ideas for improving that process. It was just now I've been helping her kind of implement that.
Right. That's awesome. And did this end up being paying project work, or are you volunteering for her?
Yeah, I think initially, I guess maybe I'm doing a bit of both. Initially it was definitely just a volunteer thing. But then I noticed that the course really was aimed at just doing the skill set, right, and teaching the skills and the techniques, and not like the actual implementation steps, right? And so I'm now kind of by project billing for that
Perfect.
implementation. Yeah.
Of the
So it's
process.
just,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And so it's, it's nothing, I'm definitely not identifying myself quite yet as like a freelancer or anything, but it's definitely in the right direction as far as just testing those waters out, if you will, of like seeing if this is where I want to move next. And so,
Right. And then I imagine there could be other processes too, right? So like you can volunteer for within the course, like to complete the course, and then it does lead to other things. That's kind of interesting the way it's unfolded.
yeah, I think specifically here, I mean, she is a good friend of mine, but she
Yeah.
definitely sees that um, these techniques and these different ways of looking at her business can be morphed in or can be used in different areas of the business. So you're exactly right. Like
Yeah.
I do have 2 or 3 other projects that she wants me to do
Yeah.
as well after this one. So
Right.
it is interesting that once you kind of gain that trust and show that initial benefit of what you're doing and showing them with a lot of transparency and all this, that she sees it as a value and wants to kind of continue to move forward, especially since you've gained so much information up front.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Once you understand their business, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of initial understanding and then it kind of just ramps up from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so are you also doing a use case using the same kind of scenario, or did you move on to something else?
I did morph a little, I did change a little bit.
Yeah.
Not, I think because it's heavy tax season right now, I wanted to just be mindful of her time and not
Yeah.
get too deep into what she was doing. What was interesting is I was doing a lot of wireframes and all, and somewhat, I didn't map the use case out, but I did start doing some wireframing before I even was taking the course. Or
That's
learning
happened before.
about what it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we like needed to go really quickly and
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Awesome.
mhm.
Awesome. Well, and I had another question. It just escaped me. um, this never happens. My questions. No,
All good.
gosh, it was about the scenario because I think it's so amazing how one, we're in the middle of kind of a really challenging time and you've found work for your roommate, which is like, a great way to build both that in-person experience. I would have never thought of that, right? And also be building your portfolio because the job market is probably a little slower than normal right now, though I do see people getting opportunities. So, right, that's what I wanted to ask you about was like the portfolio and the value that you're putting on that. Because you do come out with all of these different samples. So how does that make you feel as you're starting to look at applying for other positions or thinking about your next step?
Yeah, it's something that I'm kind of still exploring.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to kind of have a PDF of all of those things, or if I want to move it into like a website sort of thing. Still trying to figure that part out. But and still trying to format that also, I think, and understanding like which pieces I need to parse out versus maybe combining and bundling into one. So I'm still working on that part, I would say. Still have to do a bit of research on what that looks like, or just kind of put a
Yeah.
draft out there and then throw it around a little bit,
Yeah.
edit it down. But maybe I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. And it just sounds like you're preparing to put it out there for employers to either find or that you might share in an interview or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely been taking some screenshots and making a few like recorded videos of like the old way versus the new way, and kind of collecting all of those different pieces to put them into kind of a final ta-da.
Look at me, I'm a business analyst.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any advice for people looking to follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, I would say just continue to research, continue to dig. Like you've probably watched one or two of Laura's videos, or you've kind of realized that this is something that's like resonating with you. Just to keep on pursuing that and try and find space for it. Because if it is something that you notice that's in your skill set, especially during this time when there's a lot of uncertainty of what's going to happen next, it's just a great time to invest in yourself and your skills. I think that I was not really I was kind of putting the option off, I think, and not pursuing the things that I continued to see patterns in myself and what I was doing. So, I mean, the unemployment definitely helped kind of kick me in the right direction. But yeah, so if you find yourself in that position, to keep on pressing on, in seeing the positive side, I guess. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a
'Cause
huge
I'm really enjoying it. And I noticed too that it's work that I want to be doing, kind of, even despite if it's not super high paying initially. It's just nice to be able to help a business in this area, and just to see like the work move in the right direction. And so it's nice to finally find something that, I would do no matter what the costs in some ways.
So you're finding then like a big difference between the project manager work you did before and business analysis, and from a personal fulfillment. So can you, because there's a lot of people that like almost want to go the other way or are considering back and forth between those careers. Like, could you talk a little bit about how the differences have been for you in terms of what you enjoy more about the business analysis stuff?
Yeah. I think the business analysis side allows me to kind of look more big picture. The project management is definitely more day to day, right? And doing tasks and those things, which actually has kind of allowed me to be kind of on the ground level of the work. And so I'm able to kind of see the things that aren't working because I'm at the ground level and not like at a super high leadership level. So that's been helpful in understanding some of the, just understanding the landscape, I would say. And then from there, I would kind of understand the bigger picture from being lower on the totem pole, if you will.
Well, from understanding the operations of how business flows, right?
Yeah.
So when you're sitting down to analyze a process, like you've done processes, like you've been that person doing, I think it's much more challenging. Like, this is why we help mid-career professionals, right? Because it's really hard to teach what it's like to work in an office or how work flows, like that part.
Yes.
So like that experience gives you a certain empathy with other people who are doing that kind of work, including your roommate in her tax business, right? Like,
oh, definitely. I mean, I think the one thing that I notice the most is the project management from business analysis is that, as a project manager, you have your day job, and that's enough, right? That's a lot of work already. And I really wanted to enter into the business analysis realm, but I didn't have enough time, and I didn't to really put all of that work into, and it really is its own role because of that, because there's a lot of work to look at. And so the business analysis role definitely allows the people to do their own work in the roles they currently have, while that business analysis can kind of tap into what you're doing already and make little improvements as you go down the line so that you can really like actually work in a good way. So I think I will kind of use project management, continue to use project management as my like solid position, and then kind of use business analysis as kind of a side project that I'm continuing to pursue. Because I am detail oriented, and I do have some project management skills, but I really do like more of the bigger picture and trying to implement improvements. That's definitely where I find the most excitement. I've always been process improvement. Oh, it's so exciting.
I can see it. Look at that smile. That's awesome. Well, this has been awesome. I thank you so much for sharing this. Is there anything else that you wanted to share before we close things down?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Becky. And I can't wait to see where things go in your business analysis / project management career.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.